Our next guest has an amazing story to share. She is the daughter of the former head of the Genovese crime family, Vincent the Chin Gigante. And if you don't know his story, watch. But first, a warning to our viewers. Some parts of this may be considered graphic.
Vincent the Chin Gigante has one of the most intriguing stories in the world of organized crime, and his daughter Rita was there to witness the entire thing. He got his start working for Rita Genovese as a boxer at the age of 14.
When Rita Genovese got to know my dad, he took him under his wing, and that's how he began.
In 1969, Rita Genovese died from a heart attack while in prison, leaving Vincent the opportunity to become the head of the family. During this time, Rita witnessed violence at her father's hands.
I witnessed something underneath my grandmother's table. All I'm seeing is this man being beat. He's bleeding. The blood is coming towards me. I start to shake.
And then things started to change. Fearful that the FBI was always watching him, Vincent Gigante began to walk the streets in a bathrobe, talking to himself to create an alibi that he had a mental illness. This made him known as the Oddfather.
Of course I was going to protect him. I would never tell anybody anything else other than what I was told to say.
Around the same time, Rita began discovering more about herself.
Unbeknownst to me, I was an empath. So I was feeling my dad's emotions, my mom's, my sister's, my brother's.
Vincent Gigante passed away in prison in 2005. Now, far from her life before, Rita is telling her story.
I am a psychic medium healer, and I do some spiritual mentoring for people. I teach them how they can use their own psychic senses to move themselves forward. I love to be able to speak with people. I love to help them on their journey.
And now it's time for a new chapter.
Wow, please welcome author of The Godfather's Daughter, Rita Gigante.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, guys. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. We're so excited to talk to you. And it's so rare to hear from a mob boss's daughter. I wondered if you could share with us what motivated you to share your story with the world. Is it that you're an empath and that's sort of cathartic for you?
It was completely the fact that I was an empath, and telling my story was the way for me to heal myself and hopefully even my family members. But then I wanted to take something very personal to me that I was able to overcome and render it universal for everyone.
Smart.
Because there is so many parts of the story that people can relate to, even beyond the fact that my father, who, was who he was. They can relate to the fact that I was gay, that I was Catholic, and, I was supposed to get married, have children, and, take care of my mother. I was suppressed because I was a girl in the family. So you weren't expected to have your own life. People, this is what I'm getting now. People, constantly contacting me saying, "Oh my God, that's my life. I can't believe it. Tell me how can I help, heal myself?"
Yeah.
So it's absolutely why I that in itself motivated me completely.
Very relatable. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Rita, in this book, you describe some frightening experiences. We actually heard some in the package right before with your father, including seeing him beat a man nearly to death in your house. Now, does this ever feel or become normal in your household? Did you ever feel that way?
So, when you grow up and you're just under the impression that, you don't ask questions. It's kind of a known thing in the Italian heritage. You keep your mouth shut, you don't ask questions. And that's how we grew up, So, yeah, this was not the beating. That wasn't a normal thing. But when you're 5 years old and you're underneath my grandmother's, table and you're witnessing this, you're in shock, and that trauma gets buried inside of you. And it doesn't come out until it's ready to come up and heal. And that took me many, many years.
Wow.
Actually, when I started writing the book was when that vision came back to me.
I can't imagine unpacking all that. It's just, and I want to talk about your father, and just like he's kind of famous for his behavior outside. He was known as the Oddfather because of his public behavior. Can you recall his routine when you guys would just go on walks outside together?
Yes. So, I remember it clearly. We're in my grandmother's apartment, and he'd be sitting at the table. He was already in his pajamas and slippers and all that, and he'd say to me, "Let's go for a walk." I'd say, "Okay." So he'd get up, he'd put his robe on, he'd put the hood of the robe over his head, or he would put his pea cap on, and then we'd walk through the hallway, and one or two things would happen. He'd either mess up his hair and then put the pea cap on, or he would put his robe over his head. And so at that point, I knew he was getting into his, his act. And then he would say to me, "Okay, grab onto me," he said, and let's walk. And as we walked outside, he'd begin to shuffle, and he'd say, make like you're holding me up. He's like, here I am, I'm 5'1", and he's almost 6 feet tall. And I can't even imagine what people are thinking around us. But there was that certain energy of when people saw us, either they would tip their hat because they knew him and respected him, or it'd be people would be looking at us like, what is going on? And that would get me like, hey, wait a minute, that's my dad. There was that protective energy around it. And yeah, I mean, we'd walk to his place of where he played cards, but he had his business there as well. So.
Wow. All right, let's talk about you being a medium. You discovered you were a medium, and you say you communicate with your late father, which is unbelievable. The most basic question I ask is, what is he saying to you?
Well, it's funny because when he was alive, if we passed 10 words between each other every time I saw him, it was a lot. But in spirit, he just rambles on and on. And honestly, when he first came to me, he asked for forgiveness. Aww. He said he understood everything. And he said, "Can I please help you now on your path?" So I've talked to people that wanted to be in the life, and, he came through and said, "No, this is not the life for you." I've talked to people that were in the life and now are out of the life, and he's come through and talked to them.
Wow.
But even people, that are on their paths that need help on their journey, if he comes in, either somebody's connected somehow, or he's there to give a message to help them move forward in their life. And what he's doing really is he's, kind of his own karma is being worked on as he's doing.
He's burning those seeds.
Rita, I have to ask quickly, did you forgive him when he asked for forgiveness?
Great question.
I forgave him before he even passed.
Oh, thank you. Rita, it has been so incredible to learn about your life and how it shaped you today. DBL Nation, you've got to hear the whole story. Pick up The Godfather's Daughter.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's an unlikely story of love, healing, and redemption. That's the title. It's out on Amazon. Also, check out ritagigante.net for more about everything that she is doing. Thank you so much, Rita. We appreciate your transparency.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.
Thank you, too, hon.
Absolutely.
Take care.